Good morning, class 12. We are starting here with you with your second chapter now. It's Lost Spring. This is the stories written by Anise Chung, and when we read this story, we find the very pitiable condition of poor children whom we see even in our surroundings. Children from poor backgrounds used to suffer a lot. See, these children, they are living in very bad conditions, they are working and even earning their livelihood. And they are living in such a bad condition that they don't even get the bare food, even they don't get food to eat proper. So, talking about education, it's far of their reach. So it is not that it is the condition of very early time, but we still find such children in our surroundings. Although government has banned this thing that children should are not allowed to work, they shouldn't work. Child labor is banned in our country, but still we find children working. Maybe their financial condition is not good, they are very poor, and obviously food is the first requirement of a human being. For that they work. So let's analyze this story, and when we are going to read this story, I wanted you people to be sensitive towards such children. When we go through their story, we come to know that how bad conditions they are bearing on them, and then still they are working and not getting what their childhood really deserves. Let's start with the story, and the same way we will be discussing the whole story. See, Annie's talking about the author. She is born in Raulkela and she spent her childhood in Hyderabad, in young age also in Hyderabad. And even her education she got in Hyderabad and United States of America. So her parents were also writers. In East Chung, her parents were writers, and she started her career as a writer in India, and many columns in many famous newspapers she used to write in India and abroad. And thus, this is the part. This story is part from her book, Lost Spring. This is the subtitle, that is Stories of Stolen Childhood. And we are going to understand how poverty make these children exploit, their life is exploited through this poverty. Now let's start with the chapter. Sometime I find a rupee in the garbage. This is a part of conversation where a child is speaking to the author, that he finds a child the child find rupee in the garbage. Why do you do this? I ask Sahib, whom I encounter every morning scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. Sahib left his home long ago, set amidst the green fields of Dhaka. His home is not even a distant memory. There are many storms that swept away their fields and home, his mother tells him. That's why they left looking for gold in the big city where he now lives. Now, this is the beginning of the story where the author is talking to a child who is, I am searching for rupees in the garbage. And this child name, yeah, is Sahib, and Sahib is we find that he every time is scrounging for gold. Scrounging word means when you are searching for something. It's not actually he is searching for gold in the garbage, but actually he is searching for the livelihood, the way they earn money through garbage dumps. Children used to search for garbage and they sell that, and through that, whatever money they get, they earn their livelihood through that. So it is not actually a gold. See, ironically, it is marked there gold, but actually, it is the uh, the way of earning their money. And now he's searching for that thing, garbage in the goal, this garbage dumps in the neighborhood. And when the author is talking about their past, he this child came from Dhaka. You know, Dhaka is the capital of Bangladesh, and from Bangladesh they came there, and it was a far off memory because they long time came back from that place to this place, and now they are settled here because in that place they were living, and the storms take away their home, their fields, everything, so they come to search for gold. Gold again means they come to earn their livelihood in the big cities, and now they live in this big city only. I have nothing else to do, he mutters, looking away. So this author, when she was talking to this child is saying, "I have nothing to do." When this question was asked from in the beginning, that why do you do this, so he answered this question here that he has nothing to do. And the author immediately said, "Go to school." I said, "Ghibli," realizing immediately how hollow the advice must sound. You know, this line means a lot. Ghibli here means she immediately said that the child should go to school. Uh, Although the hollowness of the statement is there, because when a child who is not even getting food, uh, so how can we talk to a child that you should go to school instead of earning your livelihood, you should go to school? So that's why she's saying that this advice sounds very hollow. Unless we build that kind of infrastructure for these children, it is very uh, hollow to give such kind of advice. It doesn't sound serious when we are giving such advice to the children who are not even getting the food to eat properly. So there is no school in my neighborhood. When they build one, I will go. So to answer to this question was very general by this boy Sahib. He said that when the school will be built for us, I will definitely go to school. So we find in this statement that these children are not even getting schools for their education in their surroundings. Now, if I start a school, will you come? I ask half jokingly. Now, this author is a, generally we make such statements. She also said that if I'm going to make a school, will you come? And half jokingly refers to she was not serious actually that she is going to build a school, but she simply said that thing. Yes, sometimes we are being very insensitive by making such statements to poor people where we wanted to show our idealism, but actually it doesn't sound good. So, yes, he says, smiling broadly. And the child very simply say, yes, he will come to school, and he smiles broadly. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? So that's how this, after some days, that child come to this authoress, and he asked that question from her that have your is your school ready? So she simply says, it takes longer to build a school. I say, embarrassed at having made a promise that was not meant. So she had said that statement, but she know that thing she didn't mean to promise to making a school for that child, but promises are mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. So this again statement is has a very deeper meaning there, where it so says that such kind of promises are made by now and then by everyone to such people, where they are, and abound means they are excess, they are found in plenty in every corner of their joyless world. Bleak world means joyless world. So these people are in habit of getting such kind of promises from people everywhere in the world. So it was not a new thing for this child. After months of knowing him, I asked him his name. So after talking knowing this child for so long now, this author asked name from the child, and Sahibe Alam he announced. So his name was Sahibe Alam. He told his full name to the author. He does not know what it means. The child does not know the meaning of its name. If he knew it means Lord of Universe, he would have a hard time believing it. The author is telling us the name of meaning of that name. What's that means? That means the Lord of Universe. Again, very contradictory to the situation of that child who is really living a very hard life. Opposite to it, his name is the Lord of Universe. So he would not believe the meaning of its words. This child does not know the meaning of its name. Unaware of what his name represents, he roams the street with his friends, an army of barefoot boys who appears like the morning birds and disappear at noon. So he was not aware. Unaware means he was not realizing this, what the name, his name means to him. So but he is simply roaming on the street with his friends without any shoes, nothing. They just roam on the street, just like the birds used to come and they disappear in the noontime. During early morning, they come on the street, and during the daytime, nobody sees those birds. Same way, these children were there, scrounging for food. Over the months, I have come to recognize each of them. Now, so after a few months, she came to recognize these boys who used to come like that on the street. We find such children even in our surroundings who are searching for food. They are searching for garbage in our neighborhood. We keep on scolding them now and then. This is the harsh reality even in our country. Why aren't you wearing chappals? I ask one. My mother did not bring them down from the shelf, he answers simply. See how very naturally this child is avoiding his present situation. He don't have chappals to wear, but he says that my mother, why she's not wearing chappals? So he said that my mother don't have it on the shelf. Whereas the reality is that the child does not have even shoes or slippers to wear. Even if she did, he will throw them off. Add another who is wearing a shoes that do not match. Now, another child who is saying that even if he is given those shoes to her mother would have given him shoes, he is going to throw them away because he don't like to wear unmatched shoes. Because people used to throw the garbage. These children used to get the shoes from that garbage and they wear it. When I comment on it, he shuffles his feet and says nothing. When the lady made the comment on this statement, he simply moved his feet and he said nothing. I want shoes, says a third boy who has never owned a pair in his life. Another boy also who was on the rag picker, and also said that I also wanted a pair of shoes, but as he don't have any pair of shoes. Traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot in cities on village roads. It is not lack of money but a tradition to stay barefoot is one explanation. Now another thing this lady is saying, author is saying that when she has seen people everywhere in the country where they are walking barefoot, they don't have even chappals or even shoes in their on their feet. So that explanation is given that they have that kind of tradition. But the thing is that the explanation for this is given that this is a tradition, but actually it is not. They are lacking money, they are living in extreme poverty. Nobody is there who don't want to wear shoes or slippers or wanted to walk barefoot if they have. I wonder if this is one an excuse to explain way a perpetual state of poverty. And see, the authoress is coming with the sensitive point. This is an excuse made by people that yes, this is the justification that people have that tradition, but this explain the perpetual state of poverty. Perpetual state of poverty means the never ending poverty conditions, the conditions which are not going to change, the extreme poverty they are living. So this is the reason that these people are walking barefoot. I remember a story a man from Udupi once told me. As a young boy, he would go to school past an old temple where his father was a priest. He would stop briefly at the temple and pray for a pair of shoes. 30 years later, I visited his town and the temple, which was now drowned in an air of desolation. Now, here, this authoress remembered a story about a man who lives in Udupi. Udupi is a place in South India. So he says to him that when he was a young boy and when he used to go to school and he passes by a temple nearby, and his father was a priest there. So what he used to wait, he stops there for a brief time, short time at the temple, and what he asks from the god, a pair of shoes. And now 30 years later, when she visited the town and this same temple, now this place is no more. It is the place of desolation. It is a lying waste. No one used to come there. In the backyard where lived the new priest, there were red and white plastic chairs. Now, when she went this place again, she find that a new priest is there and plastic chairs she could see there. A young boy dressed in a grey uniform, wearing socks and shoes, arrived panting and threw his school bag on the folding bed. And now, what happened when a child who was wearing very good dress, wearing socks, shoes, he was arrived panting. Panting refers to he was tired a lot and he was breathing heavily. And he threw his school bag folded on the bed. And when looking at the boy, I remembered the prayer another boy had made to the goddess. So, looking at this child who was wearing a uniform, a well dressed up child, and she remembered that old boy who used to ask for shoes in the same temple. Let me never lose them. And what she remembered about that boy, that the prayer another boy had made to the goddess when he had finally got a pair of shoes. What when he got that pair of shoes, what he used to pray to the goddess, that let me never lose these shoes. So the goddess has granted his prayer. Young boys like the son of the priest now wore shoes. So earlier time when these people were not having even shoes to wear, but they were getting the shoes now. But many others like the rag pickers in my neighborhood remain shoeless. So why the author is remembering this thing, that many years back the children who were not having shoes, they asked from the goddess and now they have it. But they wanted to remain with these facilities of whatever facility they got, they should live with that kind of. But she says that in the present scenario, even still many children like these children who work in the neighborhood, these rag pickers, they are still not having those facility of getting the good shoes, or their condition is not like that. So, my acquaintance with the barefoot rag peepers lead me to Simapuri, a place in periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it, metaphorically. Now, her acquaintance with the barefoot, her acquaintance here refers to her introduction to these barefoot rag pickers. She's talking about these children who used to pick rags in the nearby place. This place name is Simapuri. It is a periphery of Delhi. Periphery is the suburb just near the Delhi, but yet miles away from it, metaphorically. Now, the author wanted to represent this thing that Delhi is a developed city, big city, capital of India, but still these children were not even having this basic living they have. They don't have any facilities, nothing like that, so they are miles away from it. Although they are near this city Delhi, but they are miles away from it. Those who live here are squattered who come from Bangladesh back in 1971. So these people who live here, they living in Simapuri, they come from Bangladesh in 1971, and this Sahib family is among them. Simapuri was then a wilderness. At that time in 1971, this place was wilderness, means this was wasteland. It still is, but it is no longer empty. Again, it is a wasteland only, but now people live in this place. It is not an empty place. In structure of mud with roofs of tin and tarpaulin, devoid of sewage, drainage, or running water, lives 10,000 rag pickers. So, author is describing us the condition of these people, that they live in the very temporary kind of mud houses here. No proper facilities of sewage, drainage, but 10,000 rag pickers used to live there. They have lived here for more than 30 years without an identity, without permit, but with ration cards that get their names on voter lists. So these people who are living there, they still have, they don't have their identities, they don't have proper facilities in that area, but these people have ration cards so that their name should be on the voter list. So that also represents how politicians make use of these poor people for their benefits. They are not providing any good facilities to these children who are living in this place for more than 30 years, but their only thing, their name is on the ration card, so that voter, their name could be on the voter list, so that the politicians could be benefited from it. So this list enable them to buy grains only, and food is more important for survival than identity. So these people also don't bother for their identity cards, their identity proofs, but rather they are more bothered for food, because food is very important. So if at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the field that gives us no grain. So even these people have no expectation. They simply want that at least whenever they are going to sleep, when they are going to bed, their stomach should not be empty. They should have enough of food. So say a group of women in tattered saris, again their condition is highlighted here, that these women who are saying this thing, that if they have food they don't need anything else. So their saris, tattered saris means torn saris. It represents their very pathetic condition, that they don't even have the clothes, proper clothes to wear. When I asked them that they left their beautiful land of green fields and rivers, so this was the question asked by the author, that why they left their green fields and rivers. So she said that they basically need food. That's why they there. So whenever they find food, they pitch their tents that become transit homes. Children grow up in them, become partners in survival, and survival in Simapuri means rag picking. So these people are living the life like that, temporary living in these temporary house, transit house refers to small houses, and their children also grew in these temporary houses, and they even become partners in this temporary house. So this is how these people are living their lives, how they are surviving. And survival in Simapuri means rag picking. This was their work. They used to pick rags. Through the years it has acquired the proportions of fine art. So these people have acquired this proportion here, means this form of a fine art for them, because garbage to them is gold. Again I'm telling you this thing, that garbage to them is gold, means the means of earning. It is their daily bread, so they earn their living through it. A roof over their heads, even if it is leaking roof, but for children it is even more. So the security, whatever security they are getting, is that leakage roofs. So children, through this part of chapter we come to know the very pathetic condition of these people who are not even getting proper, they have no proper homes, without sewage, drainage systems. These people are living their life as rag pickers. They don't have proper homes, temporary homes are there. They are living in that from past 30 years, only getting food from the ration cards. That's because voters, their name should be on the voter list, so nothing they are getting here. They're living like that. So I sometimes find a rupee, even a 10 rupee note. Sahib says, his eyes lighting up. When you can find silver coin in a heap of garbage, you don't stop scrounging, for there is hope of finding more. Now, being a child, this child even told this author that he first I sometimes find a 1 rupee or a 10 rupee note even in the garbage, and then that is a big thing for this child. So when he says that if you get something like that in the garbage, so obviously you are going to search for that thing, then the hope of finding more that thing. It seems that for children garbage has a meaning different from what it means to their parents. For the children it is wrapped in wonders, for the elders it is means of survival. So these elderly people consider this garbage as a means of survival through which they earn their livelihood. For children it is a kind of a wonderful wonderland where they can even get coin, they can get other things in the form of garbage. So one winter morning, I see Sahib standing by the fenced gate of neighborhood club, watching two young men dressed in white playing tennis. I like the game, he hums, content to watch its standing behind the fence. So when author find that this child was standing near in the club where people were playing tennis, and he was, people who are playing tennis, they used to wear white clothes, they were playing the game. So she asked that child that he likes that game, so he was standing behind the fence and watching it. So it also tells us that these children are obviously, they are children earning their livelihood in this young age, which is the time to play, but still they are children and they like to play things. So these children also like to play, and that's why he's standing behind that fence inside when no one is around, nobody was there, he was seeing that people playing. So he admits that the gatekeeper lets me use the swing. So he says that the gatekeeper allows me to use the swing, and he used to enjoy that swing. Sahib too is wearing tennis shoes that look strange over his discolored shirt and shorts. Someone gave them to me, he says in the manner of an explanation. When the author look at this child, and she says that he was also wearing tennis shoes, and it was like looking different because his clothes were very much discolored and his white shoes were shining. So he give that explanation that somebody gave it to him. The fact that they are discarded shoe of some rich boy might have given it to him, discarded ones, who perhaps refused to wear them because of the hole in one of them, does not bother him. For one who has walked barefoot, even shoes with a hole is a dream come true. But the game he is watching so intently is out of his reach. So here the author is trying to explain us that rich people discard the things, and they are the things of joy for these poor children who don't have even anything to wear in their feet. So even no matter there is hole in that, but they are very important for this child who is not having any shoes. But this game he was watching intently is out of his reach. Because why it is out of his reach? Because these children have no time to play because they have to earn their livelihood. This morning, Sahib is on his way to the milk booth. Now, one day again, the author noticed that the Sahib was going to the milk booth. In his hand, a steel canister, a small container was there. Steel container was there in his hand. I now work in a tea stall down the road, he says, pointing in the distance. I am paid 800 rupees and all my meals. Does he like the job? I ask. His face, I see, has lost the carefree look. Now, when the author asked, do you like this work, where he was working on the tea stall where he was getting rupees 800 and even the meals, so he was not looking that carefree which earlier he was having that look. The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag. It's not that steel canister is heavier than that, but actually it is. He would carry so lightly over his shoulder. The bag was his because that work belongs to him, and now he is working under someone. The canister belongs to the man who owns the tea shop. Sahib is no longer his own master. Earlier, when he was doing the work of a rag picker, he was the master of his own wish. He used to run here and there picking up the rags, but now he is working under some man. So we'll be doing it till here in this class today, and you will be really feeling pathetic understanding the condition of this Sahib Alam, who was a boy from Simapuri, and we find that he is earning his living, don't have even the slippers or shoes to wear, and they are not living in hygienic condition because Simapuri is a very um, dirty kind of place to live in. But another Sahib has to change his job from rag picking to work in the tea stall, because there he was getting 800 rupees and even his meal. So we find this kind of condition about this child in the city, who was living, who came from Bangladesh and living his life in this city. We'll be continuing with this chapter with another child who is living a very pathetic life named Mukesh in the your next class. So, thank you, class. You'll be doing the word meanings till here. Thank you, class. Thank you.